everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 240. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Book Insight Friday, and don't worry, I am talking about a book today. And it's my upcoming release of Alphabet City Part 4. So the first 3 books of the series are already out. You guys have access to it from ebooks and paperbacks. Audiobooks, I have not gotten to recording any of those yet because I am working on so many different projects at one time. So, as summer comes upon us, I will have time to delve into recording audiobooks, and the time will be there. But anyway, Alphabet City 4 takes us through the life of Cheryl, who is a single mother raising 2 teenage kids. So Jermaine and Shamika are Cheryl's kids and her rock and what keeps the family together. The thing is Cheryl's life is a constant grind of struggle financially, emotionally, and physically. There are so many stories of life, but we never get the single mother raising kids in a tough neighborhood. And I wanted to shine light on this and Cheryl's life of raising 2 young adolescents, which, unfortunately wasn't her choice, as her husband was killed. And he was killed in Alphabet City. It's not easy writing stories like this, and it was a lot of breaks for me when I was writing this. I think of how many single mothers in America raise children alone and how many decisions they have to make on a daily basis. Working long hours, making sure your kids are safe, feeding them, making sure their well-being is good at all times. And Cheryl's journey through life isn't easy, as she's grown up in Alphabet City and has seen so much in her life. Gang life, death, violence, drugs, you name it, she's pretty much seen it. And I write about struggle in a lot of my stories, but I always try to keep things in perspective. I try to write about hope, change, and progression. And life is a journey of ups and downs, and I try to be as real, raw, and passionate as possible with this story, giving you the visualization of Cheryl's journey, what's going on in her mind, and how she gets through her days. With pain and struggle comes resilience, fight, and perspective on life. And it's writing about real life situations and circumstances that happen on a daily basis in bad neighborhoods across America. And it's a sad glimpse into gang life, how one block separates one gang territory from another, and how in the blink of an eye something horrible can happen and you don't even see it coming. And it's to make you see and realize that everyone has a story, everyone has struggles they go through, and to appreciate all that you have. Because sometimes we think that, our lives are worse than everyone else's, when in reality, it's nowhere near that. And Cheryl has a lot that she goes through in this story, and she's on an uphill climb daily. And it's an emotional ride through her life as a woman, a single mother, and someone who wants better for herself and her kids. And I write this story for purpose and reason. And if you walk through a lot of, neighborhoods with, predominantly, Black women, Latino women, which is what I've seen in my life. I've, not seen other sides of it, but, you guys know I'm from the inner city, and, I've seen a lot, in my life. Some things I don't want to see, but, that's just, the reality of life. My mother tried to shield me, but, as I got older, I started to understand what life is and what it's about and what it consists of. And I'm still learning. The point is, Cheryl's story is like so many other mothers' stories. So it's why I needed to write a story like this and to share light on, what single mothers have to manage on a daily basis. And she only has 2 children, and they're teenagers and they're good kids. and, they're doing the right thing, and, she's instilled the right values. And yes, you do get the backstory in this book on what happened with her husband and why. I'm not the person who's going to create the backstory and leave you hanging and leave you wondering. With Alphabet City, you're meeting one character per book, and some two characters, which will be in Alphabet City 5 with Shamika and Jermaine's story. So not only am I writing Cheryl's story, but I'm also going to write the kids' story from, her kids' perspective and what they see and deal with on a regular basis. So there's a lot that went into this Alphabet City series. This book was, a little bit tougher to write because she's a single mother. Alphabet City 5 was tough to write, and I think there was another book in this series that was tough to write. But when we get to that point, I'm quite sure I will be someone who is brutally honest in, what went into writing these books. The reason why I do this book insight is because, excuse me, a lot of authors do write their books, and they really, just write them and give you a little glimpse into things, but they're not sharing, a lot of what went into the books and the characters and why and the scenery and the imagery and the storylines and things of that nature. With me, I'm writing about social issues, and I'm writing about the inner cities of America. And, I haven't been to every major inner city, but I think that, being from New York City and have gone through a few neighborhoods, I have a pretty good idea of like what happens, what goes on, why, things of that nature. I have a friend who has family members who were former NYPD officers. I heard those stories, and, I've, seen my share of things. So, it's not something that I'm necessarily proud of, but it does give me the fuel to write stories like this. Cheryl is just like any average mother who is working hard to make sure that her kids are taken care of before her. And mothers sacrifice a lot in their lives. And I know a lot of mothers, like in my life, and the things that they experience and deal with and go through. Even I know mothers that are single, and I know mothers who have significant others, and they go through a lot, whether they're single or they have a significant other, whether it's a boyfriend or a fiance or a husband. It's, great for moms to have the family structure, because the reality is it does take a village to raise kids. And I'm not even going to sit here and say good kids, because you can raise them right and they still can make bad decisions. That's an unfortunate reality. You can instill the morals and values, and they can go out into the world and go in a whole different direction. And that's the scary part of, mothers. And there are things that, mothers fear every single day, that something bad can happen or anything like that. And I am not going to sit here and absolve myself, but I have given my mother some scares before, and not intentionally, but I have given my mother some scares. I would say about 4 or 5 times in my life. Yeah. Not anything near death experiences, but let's just say I've had my share of experiences. So at this juncture of my life, I live 2,800 miles away from my mother. So there is a purpose and reason for why I keep her in the loop with what's going on with me. And, I try to keep her abreast of, okay, this is what I'm doing this week or this weekend, or this is where I'm going, or, these are the friends I'm hanging out with, because, life is so precious and things happen so suddenly. And in Alphabet City 4, there are things in this book that happen so suddenly. That's all I can say, because I don't want to, give away the storyline of this book. But the goal is always to, like I said, bring hope, change, progression in the inner cities of America. And it's going to not just be politicians that do it. It's going to have to be a collective effort. And there's going to have to be a lot of leaders in the mix. And I am one person to say that I'm going to be doing my best to do my part in changing the landscape of these inner cities of America. I'm not writing these stories the way you see on television, and I'm not writing these stories, the way you're used to seeing it. There are situations that do happen in life, and some are not the greatest, and that is mostly what this series consists of, and that there are consequences for bad decisions, bad behavior with other characters that I will talk about as I release these books. So as you're listening to this, the book is not released yet. It will be releasing on April 26th, which will be on Wednesday, I gather. Yeah, it's on the 26th. Every book will be released on the 26th of each month. So that's a representation of the 26 blocks of Alphabet City. So if you guys don't know by now, that is where I was going with it. So that pretty much covers Alphabet City, part 4, and what went into it. Obviously, I listened to, good music to make sure that the thoughts flowed and came out. The brainstorming sessions I did for all 12 books, all in one shot. So it took me a few hours to get it all down pat, made some tweaks, made some changes, adjusted chapters. Certain books were supposed to be later on in the series, moved them to early on in the series. I think this was one of the books where I had to move it. No, part 5, I had to move up earlier in the series. I had to switch 5 and 8. And I'll discuss more of that down the road. So anyway, hope you enjoy listening to this. Feel free to subscribe to any of the podcast platforms that my podcast is on, because they're everywhere. Pretty much. It's Apple, Spotify, Google, Spreaker, Good Pods, GVOSan, you name it, I'm there pretty much. Castbox, Deezer, I'm everywhere. I'm also on the AquarianMindPodcast.com. That's my own personal website, and you get a special media player when you listen to it, and you get to see my website and how everything is structured and built. And I am working on transcription for my podcast, but that's going to take a few months because I have so many episodes. All right, I'm done blabbering on. I'm getting out of here. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Be productive. Stay tuned for next week and more podcasts coming. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.